programs and where they fall short of our new understanding of life. 5, we make a commitment to undergo the purification necessary to change our old mental and emotional patterns and stabilize the new outlook and disposition. 6, we learn to be flexible and open to life so that we can continue to learn and grow on the basis of our new outlook. Openness should never be indiscriminate, but be based on proper discernment. 7, we practice humility in the midst of our endeavors to mature spiritually. And in this way, we avoid the dangers of ego inflation. 8, we assume responsibility for what we have understood about life and the principles of spiritual recovery, applying our understanding to all our relationships so that we can be a benign influence in the world. 9, guided by our new outlook and with the help of yoga, we work on the integration of our mind. 10, we conscientiously cultivate self-discipline in all matters, great and small. This can be painstaking and inconvenient at times because we will be looking at our actions more closely on an ongoing basis. 11, we increasingly practice spiritual communion with the luminous parts of ourselves through a regular meditation practice. Through this and through continued growth in self-understanding, we become gradually transparent to ourselves. And 12, we open ourselves to the possibility of abiding happiness, whereby self-centeredness is cleared away and we recover our true spiritual essence, which had been covered over. Through this awakening, the world becomes transparent to us and we are made whole in the context of life. Each branch of yoga has its own version of the path, and we will explain. But first, you need to admit, right? This is what he's saying, that the fact that our ordinary lives are only half awake in something of a trance state and that we normally deny this to ourselves. So those 12 steps of spiritual recovery, for some reason they landed in my lap this morning, but I could take one of those and do a class on those for 12 days. We could do that for a year, one a month. It's important to understand now, for my understanding, that what he was trying to say is that we can take the path to the self-recovery. We want to recover ourselves. And there's these tiny little steps. There's these honey-do lists. So I would strongly encourage you to look at them. My teacher's name was George Feuerstein. He passed away maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but he was a great influence on the documentation of traditional yoga. He wrote some of the greatest books that we have today on the history and the traditions and of Tantra and of the Matrix. He wrote many books. So his name is George Feuerstein. And again, you can look for the 12 steps of spiritual recovery, because I know some of you are going to write me and ask me, what's his name? What's the book? That book is actually called The Yoga Matrix. And I do, and the more I look at it, the more I can understand the way I teach. And why I teach the way I teach is because I had teachers like that kind of insidiously have become a part of my nomenclature every day. They insisted that I become awake and responsible, and they insisted that I teach that to others in my own terms. So yogis, basically we are responsible for our awakeness. Yes, and when we become awoke, we need to start to gently guide others to that spot. Today's deep stretch is using the body to get to these sensations of wokeness. Yeah. And that's what this learning device really is. I want you today to experience different parts of the body as it pulls, maybe creates space. I want you to notice the sensation in that place and then in the totality of your own being. So I don't want you to become distracted. I want you to think about where I'm asking you to feel the sensation. And I want you to experience that, right? We have this and our senses to really fully embody our experience here and to be woke, to walk this earth as that thing. So yogis, that being said, I'm going to put my glasses away and I'm going to sit with you on the mat for a moment. If you do need blocks, I have blocks out. I have a strap out, my straps. I have a little pillow for my neck. So yogis, get your stuff if you need your stuff. And then meet me on your mat in a seated position of your choice. If you need to sit in a chair, please sit in a chair. If you need to sit with your back against the wall, find the wall. Yeah. So yoga is going to meet you where you are. Always know that. Yoga is doesn't have an ego. You do. So just show up. So finding our sits bones, I'm taking a deep breath and just arrive here. Without any discussion, just arrive. Notice your breath. Notice everything about you. Maybe noticing the sounds around you, the smells around you. And when we close our eyes, we can actually see light. And what color is that light? Sometimes that light is bright. Sometimes it's a reddish or orange, blue. Just notice the sensations around you. Notice your breath as it comes in and out of the body. In a relaxed state, yogis. If you feel or find any tension in the chest, try to release that. Invite the breath. Allow the breath without forcing. Just let it happen. Cultivating this Ujjayi breath for the rest of your practice. Yogis, I'd like you to think about an intention without moving your hands to your heart. Just keep your hands where they are and think about your intention. Then I want you to bring sensation to the palm of your hands. And bring that sensation to your fingertips. Notice the energy, the pulsating feeling of energy. As we can learn to direct our energy anywhere we want. Bringing your attention back to the breath in and out through the nose. Take 3 breaths here. Good, yogis. Finding movement in your hands, wrists, place them on your knees. And just start making gentle circles with your torso in any direction you like. But just keep it in one direction in the beginning. And then yogis, go in the opposite direction, whichever way you didn't go. Gentle circles with the torso. And then find yourself in the center line. Yogis, lengthen the spine. And then round the spine and pull away from yourself. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen the spine, press your chest forward. And do that again. Exhale, round the spine, go away from yourself. Inhale, press the chest forward. Do that one more time. Rounding the spine. And then inhale, pressing the chest forward. Good, yogis. Finding a neutral spine. Put your arms out to the side. Create an X in front of you. Hands onto your shoulders. Lift your arms up like you're taking off a t-shirt. And then open your arms again. And do that again. Cross. And then lift. So this is a dynamic movement. It's like you're taking off your shirt. And do it again. Cross elbows. Lift up. One more time. Cross elbows. And lift up. Place your fingertips on the ground and feel your fingertips on the floor, the sensation of them. Place your left hand to your hip and then reach your right arm to the right, bending the right elbow. Extending that right elbow, placing the left fingertips to the ground. Place your right hand on your right hip. Reach to the left, bend your left elbow. Inhale, come up. Place both hands on the ground, yogis. Fingertips into the floor, tenting your fingers, and then feel that lift in the chest. And look up if you can. And then release that, finding a nice neutral spine. Turn to the left, placing your left hand on your right knee. Gently come back towards the midline. Inhale, find length. Place your right hand on your left knee and gently twist. Coming back towards the midline. Take a moment here, yogis. Good. Place knees together, rock back, hinging at the hips. We're going to sweep our legs behind us. If you're in a chair, yogis, you can put your hands on the seat of the chair if you'd like. We're going to do some cat-cows here. So let the belly drop, lift the head, inhale, and tuck the chin into the chest and round the spine on the exhale. Let the belly drop, lift the head, inhale, and then tuck the chin into the chest and round the spine on the exhale. So yogis, I'm going to start doing a little bit of dynamic movement with you, and then we're going to come back to this position. So tuck your toes underneath you and lift up for down dog and just walk the dog. Walking your hands to your feet, bending your knees, placing your hands on top of your quads, and then rolling up. Your head is the last thing to come up. Good, I'm going to face you so you have an anterior view. All I want you to do is pull your knees up, your tempo. So all I want you to do is dynamically warm up and take a breath. Good. You got 2 more like that. Good. Now open up your feet a little bit, and then you're just going to pick up your right foot and then pick up your left foot. Do it again. Pick up your right foot and pick up your left foot. If this is too hard for you, keep your hands here and just kick yourself in the butt. Yeah? You're going to feel some flexion in the hamstrings. I want you to feel it right in the hamstring, the tension, but the stretch is being felt in the quadricep. Yes? So suck the belly into the spine and keep on pulling up. Take a breath. You have 2 more. Good, yogis. And then extend your arms out and take a breath. Grab your left elbow and then extend the arms out to an X. Grab your right elbow, extend your arm to an X. Left elbow out. So it's a dynamic stretch for your triceps. One more set. Last elbow. Good. And then just make circles with your arms. And then let's go in the opposite direction. Good. Yogis, take a breath. Now I'm going to come into a lateral view. You're going to walk down, right? Go all the way down and then place your hands on the mat and walk out to a plank. So we're going to do these dynamic core movements. Then we're going to walk back to your feet and then roll yourself back up. We're going to do 5 of them. So we're going to roll down, walk out. This is number 2. Press away and then walk back to your feet, bending the knees if you need to. Do it again. Roll down and then feeling the hamstring stretch there. And then here, lifting in the core, feeling that beautiful length, and then coming back towards your feet and then roll up. This is the last one. Roll down. Walking to that plank and then walk back. So this is great for our mobility, yogis, and our strength. So I am going to keep in this anterior view because I want you to see it. I want you to step your left foot back, bend your right knee for this stretch before we move. Now this is a psoas stretch. I don't want you to just do this. It's not 90-90. I want you to bring this left hip forward. So this is this posterior tilt of the pelvis. Bending that right knee, lifting your chest, and posteriorly tilting your pelvis. I want you to feel the sensation down the hip flexor, Take another breath. Good. Step forward and bring your right foot back. Again, yogis, it's not an anterior tilt. I want you to posteriorly tilt the pelvis. Bend the front knee and then try to straighten the back leg, but posteriorly tilt the pelvis so we feel a tremendous stretch in the front part of that right leg. Take another moment. Good, yogis. Step forward and take a breath. Arms up. We're going to roll down. Bend the knees and touch your hands to the ground. And just let your head hang and feel the tension releasing from the back. And then come onto all fours, please. And then open up your knees a bit and sit back towards your heels for this child's pose. Forehead to the ground as much as possible. So yogis, you know, if you know me, you know how I feel about these lateral movements. But I'm going to teach it today in a different way. So I want you to reach your arms to the right. So we are left side centric, right? So I want you to press the left hip to the left, and I want you to really feel it in the lats. That's the latissimus dorsi on the left side, the serratus on the left side, and underneath the armpits, even your deltoids. So really press to the left and reach to the right. Actively create this dynamic stretch. One more breath. Really press that left hip to the left. And then come back towards the midline, bringing your hips to the center, arms back to the center, reaching forward, feeling an equal length in your side bodies, also in the length of the spine. Suck your belly in. Reaching to the left. Now we're feeling everything on that right side, right? So reach as much as you can and press your right hip to the right. You're going to feel that in the lats, right? Underneath the armpit. You're going to feel it in the serratus, in the deltoid, and keep on reaching. You're also going to feel it in the QL, which is on the lower side of the spine. Reach, yogis. Take another breath. Push the hip to the right. Reach your arms to the left. And then come back towards the midline, bringing your arms forward. Hips forward. Lift your eye gaze and then reach your chest forward, coming into Anahata Asana. Reaching your chest a little bit more forward, come onto your bellies. Bringing your left hand underneath or your forearm underneath your forehead. Bend your right knee and grab a hold of the right foot. Squeezing the heel towards the glute. Take a breath and feel that in the quadricep, yogis. If that's not possible, yogis, just try to reach your heel towards your glute without holding on to the foot. Take one more breath, feeling that extension in the hip, and then release that. Take your right forearm underneath your forehead, and then grab a hold of your left ankle. Your knees are in line with each other, and press the heel towards the glute. Remember, if you can't grab, just press the heel towards the glute as much as you can, any amount. Pressing your hips into the floor. Engage, yogis. Feeling that in the quadricep, but also feeling it in the extension of the hip. We're going to feel it a little in the glutes, and some of us are going to feel it in the lower back. Gently. It's not a bad feeling. Just take a moment and then release that gently. Good, yogis. Take your hands underneath your deltoids. Press yourself back to that long child's pose again. Remind yourself of your intentions and notice the sensations in the body. Take a moment. Press your hands into the floor, tuck your toes underneath you, and come into your down dog. Sweep your right leg behind you in a three-legged dog. Press your left heel down, engage your left quadricep and engage your right quadricep. Engage your arms, yogis. Contract your muscles so that the opposing muscle groups can lengthen and find that deepness in the stretch of the muscle. One more breath. Elevate the left heel and bring your right knee to your nose. Lift your eye gaze. Flex your right foot. Step on your right foot and bend your left knee. Reach your arms forward, maybe inside the leg. One more breath. Bringing your left hand in, reaching your right arm up, and take a breath here. Looking down at your left hand, place your right hand to frame your right foot. Tuck your back toes underneath you and find this right side lunge. Feeling that left side hip flexor. Reach your right leg behind you for a three-legged dog. Find a down dog. Pressing your heels into the ground, yogis. Take a breath. Take a moment here, please. And find yourself. Left leg sweeps the sky. You're in a three-legged dog. Engaging your arm muscles, engaging your quadriceps. The front of the body is contracted as the back body is lengthening. Elevate the right heel and bring the left knee to your nose. Lift your eye gaze, flex your left toes, and come forward, bending the right knee. Bringing your hands on the inside of that left foot, yogis, and reach your arms forward. One more breath, noticing the sensation in the upper body and in the legs, that right leg, maybe the compression of the left hip. And then gently bringing your hands in, bring your left hand down and reach, right hand down, reach your left arm up. Bringing that left knee in towards the midline. Maybe noticing the sensation in the right hip flexor. One more breath. And then look down at your left foot, frame it with your left hand, pick up the back heel, and then find this hip flexor left side low lunge, runner's lunge, right? Feeling the top of that right quadricep, right? Contracting, rolling everything towards the midline. In order for us to achieve a deeper sense of the belly of the muscles stretching, take another breath. And then sweep that left leg back for a three-legged dog. Down dog. Right leg sweeps the sky for a three-legged dog. Engage your muscles. Elevate the left heel and bring your right knee to your nose. Look forward, step on your right foot, bend your left knee, reach your arms forward. Maybe placing your forearms on the ground. Taking one breath here, yogis, we're going to take this left forearm, parallel it to the front of your mat, and then grab a hold of your left foot or ankle with your right hand and breathe. Feeling that in the quadricep of the left leg. Gently release that left foot, coming back towards the center, flexing your right foot and coming into a Hanuman. Rolling everything in towards the midline. Bringing your left hand down, reach your right arm up. Looking down at your right foot. Take a breath. Step on it and find that right side lunge. Sweeping your right foot back, three-legged dog. Down dog. Left foot sweeps the sky. Contract your quads. Elevate and bring your left knee to your nose. Lift your eye gaze, flex your left foot, step on it, and bend your right knee. Reaching your arms forward, maybe placing your forearms on the ground. Noticing the sensation in the hip. And the hip flexors. Paralleling your right forearm to the front of your mat, reaching your left arm up, bend your right knee, grab a hold of your right foot and press or squeeze your right heel towards your glute and open up your chest. Notice that intense stretch in the quadricep, the flexion of the hamstring, the opening of the chest. Gently release that And then come back to the center as you flex your left foot and come into Hanuman. Place your right hand down, squeeze everything towards the midline, and lift your left arm up. Gently place your hand back down onto the ground. Step on your left foot, tuck the back toes underneath you, and come into this left side lunge. Gently sweep the left leg back for a three-legged dog. Down dog. Open up your feet about 6 inches apart. And then walk your hands to the back of your mat. And grab a hold of the pointy parts of your elbows and just let yourself hang. Two more breaths. And release your elbows gently and walk your hands back to down dog. Looking between your hands, we're going to step your right foot forward and turn your back toes out just a tiny. Roll your left hip in and go on towards the ball of the right foot. Coming into this Parsvottanasana variation. Flex the right toes or the right foot towards you and open out your hands a tiny. Pick up the back heel and roll everything in towards the midline. Take 2 more breaths. Then gently spin to the long side of the left of your mat. All 10 toes facing the left. Reach forward, roll on the balls of your feet. Lengthen your spine. Your knees will bend if they need to. Forearms on the ground. Open up your feet a little wider if you can't access that. And take a moment engaging your quadriceps. So lift up your kneecaps. Roll towards the ball of your foot. Straighten your arms, extend your elbows. Lift your eye gaze, nice long spine. Bend your left knee, flex your right foot. And then come through the center and then bend your right knee and flex your left foot. And come back to the center and take a breath. And then turn to the right, finding your right side lunge. And then just coming into a down dog. Lift your eye gaze and step your left foot forward. Turn your right toes out a tiny so your heels are in line with each other. Rolling everything in towards the midline, squaring your hips off. Open out your hands and tent your fingers and flex your left foot. Pick up your back heel and come into this Parsvottanasana variation. Roll towards the right side of the long side of your mat here. All 10 toes facing that side, the right side. So yogis, grab your heels, maybe the sides of your feet or by your toes, whatever you can grab, yogis. And then open up your feet if you need to and look towards the mat and keep on pulling yourself down. Elbows are pulling up towards the ceiling. Engage the quadriceps and pull. Then gently release your heels as you reach your arms forward. Lengthen your spine and lengthen the elbows, extending the elbows. Bend your right knee, flex your left foot. Feeling the adductors on the inside, and then come to the center and then bend your left knee and then flex your right foot, any amount. And then come back up towards the center. Spin to the left, finding that left side lunge. Sweep that leg into a three-legged dog, just to shake it out, and then find your down dog. Walk your feet if you need to, press your hands down. Lift your heels up and then bend your knees to the mat. Sit back down onto your heels, yogis. Grab a hold of your strap or anything that you have. We're gonna lie back on our spine. Loop the strap around the ball of your right foot. And then keep your left knee bent for now. Placing your left hand on top of your left hip here, the top of your left leg. So I want you to feel the femur bone in the socket, toes towards you. Extend this left leg if you can. If you need to keep it bent, by all means. If your head is rocking back, make sure that you feel the chin and chest chasing each other. Yeah, open up the leg to the right. Finding your external rotation. You can keep the left knee bent, but what I want you to find is the range of motion in the hip socket. So engage your right quadricep, flex your right foot, flex your left foot as well, yogis, and just take a moment. And then gently bring your leg back towards the midline. And then just pull it towards you. And then release that. Keeping your right knee bent, put the loop around the ball of your left foot, placing your hand on your right hip for a moment, or your top of your right leg. And then just feel that stretch. Flex the left foot at the ankle. Toes are towards you. Engage the quad. Femur bone is going into the socket. And then gently open it out to the left. Extend the right leg, if possible. Take a moment. Then bringing that leg in towards the midline. Pull towards you. Don't forget to engage your quadriceps. Then gently release the bind or your strap. Then release the leg down. Take a breath. So yogis, grab a block or a book, whatever you have handy. We're going to bend the knees, lift the hips up, place the block right underneath the sacrum. So I want you to feel the opening in the top of the hip. So this is extension, right? Even here, this is extension of the hip because I'm feeling this space being created here, right? If I start to extend my legs a little further, this space gets greater, right? This is hip extension, yeah? So try it a little bit more, any amount. Make sure that the back of your head is on the ground. If you want to explore more, do that. But make sure that the block is on your sacrum. Any amount. And here we find some, not only are we finding hip extension, but we're finding back extension. Two more breaths. Gently, yogis, bring your feet in, knees up towards the ceiling. Press your heels into the ground, posteriorly tilting your pelvis and lifting the block up from underneath you. Lowering your hips back down, but feel the lower back onto the ground here. Good. Take a moment. And then release that. So bring knees into the chest. And then place your feet on the ground. Open up your feet about hip distance and let your knees go to the left for a nice twist. And then bring the feet and the knees back onto the mat, and then let your knees go to the right. Bringing your knees back in towards the midline. Yogis, bring your knees in towards the chest again and grab a hold of the outsides of your feet, right? So yogis, if you can't grab the outsides of your feet, we're going to place the strap around the balls of the feet again, right? And then open up the feet about hip distance and then use the sides of the strap that are hanging down by the sides of your body and then pull, right? So you have that option always. If you can grab your sides of your feet, do that and come into this happy baby. So from this happy baby, if you have the strap, I want you to stay there. But if you can explore this extension of your legs, then do that. And then gently come back. If you have the strap, release the strap. Bringing your knees into your chest. Just shake your feet out a little bit. And then lower your feet down onto the mat. Coming into a Shavasana of your choice. Inhale. Exhale. Do that again. Find your peace. Remind yourself of your intentions in that Savasana for a moment. And then just let yourself know that with your intentions, with those resolves, we can achieve anything. Yogis, you can stay in this Shavasana for as long as you want, but if you are staying in it without me guiding you out, please be very mindful when you wake up. Make sure you do so slowly and with compassion. If you're waking up with me, yogis, please find some movement and then gently bring your knees into your chest. And just roll to the right and to the left if it feels good. If it doesn't, yogis, just sit up and find a seat. Yogis, we are responsible for the actions that we take on a daily basis. And being woke to that could be a little daunting for some. And so, my teacher's 12 steps was pretty cool and I forgot about them. So if you'd like to turn yourself on to them, they're the 12 steps of spiritual recovery by George Feuerstein. Yogis, have a wonderful and abundant day. Remember, make good choices. Sat Nam and Namaste.